So let's continue our discussion. We've got the NRA. We've got this 29-year-old Russian agent named Maria Butina, who's now been indicted for working on behalf of Russia in the United States without being a registered foreign agent. We have a viewer of the David Pakman show who actually was at a class with Maria Butina and exchanged emails with her, and he sent them to me, and I've been reviewing them, and I don't know whether they're really relevant for the show. I don't know if he's okay with me showing them to you, but I've been reviewing a lot of the activity that Maria Butina has been involved in. And she appears to be at least one of the conduits between the Russians and the Trump campaign via the NRA. And that's a connection that we've been following for months. So I already told you in the last story that the same day of Maria Butina's indictment, the Trump Treasury, headed by Steven Mnuchin, decided to change a rule to make it easier to hide the donors of dark money to organizations just like the NRA. Convenient coincidence. Okay. Well, yesterday we learned that it wasn't just the NRA that Maria Butina was meeting with. It wasn't just showing up at a Trump event and asking Trump a question about easing Russian sanctions, but Reuters is now reporting that Maria Butina also met with two senior officials at the United States Federal Reserve and the Treasury Department, along with other visiting Russian officials. I'm not saying these things are related, but this stinks really, really badly. And it now also pulls in specifically Alexander Torshin, who happens to be the exact Russian rich dude who's already suspected of being a funder of Trump's campaign via the NRA. Multiple people familiar with the meetings involving Butina and the Treasury and the Fed have confirmed that, including Americans who are connected to those meetings. So there is nothing being questioned about whether these meetings took place. So consider what we now know with regard to Maria Butina. Number one, Maria Butina met with high-ranking NRA officials. And of course, we know that the NRA was funneling money to the Trump campaign. Number two, Maria Butina met with U.S. Treasury and Federal Reserve officials. Number three, the Treasury relaxed reporting requirements of NRA donor information within 48 hours of Maria Butina's arrest. And number four, Butina worked for NRA-tied, Putin-connected Russian Alexander Torshin. I also increasingly don't understand how a 20-something-year-old Russian gets meeting after meeting with NRA higher-up, Treasury higher-up, Federal Reserve higher-up, and nobody seems to raise an eyebrow. And the broader picture here is twofold. Number one, we now realize that Russia deployed the full spectrum of infiltration techniques. You have Russians teasing Trump campaign officials and Trump's own family, including Donald Trump Jr. and Kushner, with dirt on Hillary, and it got them meetings at Trump Tower. You have the messing with the voting systems by Russia in something like 20 or more states and actually accessing the voting systems in at least one state, as far as the latest reports indicate. You have infiltration of traditionally right-wing organizations like the NRA, and the use of those organizations as conduits to both the Republican Party's easing of their position on Russia and to the Trump campaign itself. And then lastly, and some people don't like this, we don't know to what extent Maria Butina may have used sex to obtain even more than we know about, right? So like it's not sexist to say that Maria Butina may have used sex in order to develop some of the connections that she did. It's just a widely used tactic by Russia and other intelligence services, and it's one of the reasons why a woman operating in a world that is disproportionately men granting access, it wouldn't be shocking to think that that may be why this 20-something woman with no real credentials to speak of was able to get this level of access. And it's not sexist. And in fact, I don't even know if we need to call it infiltration when it seems like many of these parties, the Trump campaign, the Republican Party, the NRA, among others, willingly welcomed Maria Butina. So we're going to learn some incredible things in the next few months. This is only the start. And I really do want to hear from from the audience, particularly from the Russia skeptics on this. When you see the various modes of infiltration that took place, working directly with the Trump campaign, working through conduits like the NRA and others, using individuals like Maria Butina to meet with folks at everywhere from the Federal Reserve and the Treasury to the NRA. How at this point can anybody still be a so-called Russia skeptic? Let me know. This is a topic of discussion on the David Pakman Show subreddit at davidpakman.com/REDDIT. And we've got a fantastic program for you today.
I am thrilled to tell you that today's episode is sponsored in part by Blinkist.com/Pakman. Blinkist is a really unique service for your phone, tablet, and web browser, and it is incredibly useful for people like me who love books and learning but are busy. Blinkist takes the best and most popular nonfiction books and condenses them into 15-minute audiobooks. I'm sure that if you're like me, you have a very long list of books that you've been meaning to read. You only have so many hours in the day, and that's why Blinkist is so amazing. They take the most important information, the themes, the insights from each book, and they distill it into a 15-minute audiobook that you can listen to in one sitting. I've listened to a ton of books on Blinkist. Our audience can get a 7-day free trial by going to Blinkist.com/Pakman. If you're watching on YouTube, I put a link in the description. I have listened to Blinkist books about economics, about political science, about history, about science. So many interesting things. And after the free trial, if you like it, you can continue enjoying thousands of condensed audiobooks for about $5 a month. Go to Blinkist.com/Pakman. That's BLINKIST.com/PAKMAN.